Good morning, this is Tim, Parts and Service Manager with Pavement Technologies. We have here an early 90s Crafco EZ 200 propane, and we're going to show you how to use it today. First things, you're going to want to turn your propane on. Make sure the valves to both tanks are open and the valves to the lines themselves are open. At this point, you come over to your burner box controls. Turn your temperature up. Your burner will turn on. And here you will find gauges for your transfer oil and your material. You're going to want to bring the heat transfer oil up to temperature, no more than 550. As you can see, you can set that dial to 550. Let this come up to temperature. That'll start heating the transfer oil, which in turn will heat the material inside the tank. Once you're up to temperature with the transfer oil and your material has started to melt, you can turn your engine on. Come over here, start her up. While the engine is running, you have hydraulic oil being pumped back to your hydraulic motor. When your material is melted, you'll be able to start moving the agitator. With the motor running, you'll have hydraulic oil coming back to these pumps, or these valves. This valve here controls the agitator inside of the tank. Move it forward to turn it clockwise, move it backward to turn it counterclockwise. Once you can move that agitator with the material inside, it's going to make the material melt faster. At that point, when your material's melted, you'll use this other lever to control your material pump. The material pump, when you move forward, will turn counterclockwise. When you move backward, will turn clockwise. This controls which direction the material is moving through the plumbing system. This big valve here is your main valve. It controls a door which opens and lets material out of the tank into the plumbing system, which is back here in the cabinet. Once that big valve is turned, this gate valve will open and it allows material to come from the big tank into the plumbing system. And at that point, we'll come here through the pump, up this pipe, and then over here to the recirculation valve, which will either return it to the tank via a pipe here, back to tank to recirculate through the whole system. Or if you turn this recirculation valve to the off position, you'll have the material running to the hoses which are in the back of the tank. In order to get material to flow through the hoses, with the recirculation valve in the off position, you'll open a hose valve here at either of the hoses to allow material to come through this pipe, down into the hoses and out. Then you have a hose end valve which you will open up, which is here on the end of the hose. Once that valve is open, you can start to increase pressure to the hose with the applicator valve. The applicator valve is normally in the open position, and when you turn it to the closed position, it builds pressure in the material hose. So another quick basic rundown. Agitator valve makes the agitator spin, melt the material faster. This valve will move your material pump either forward or reverse. When you want to pump material, the pump needs to be turning clockwise to pump material. You'll have the hose going back to the tank or wherever cracks you're filling. You also need to do suction on the hose when you're done working for the day. You'll move the pump into the reverse position, open all the valves on your hoses, and allow the material to suck back to the tank. Do that for several minutes, 2 to 3, maybe 5 minutes. At that point, you can turn your applicator valve all the way to the open position to decrease any pressure to the hoses, and then turn your recirculation valve back to open. You'll come back, you turn your hose valves off, the ends of the hose valves, and now you're recirculating material. It's still on suction, but you're taking all the material out of this plumbing and going back to the main tank. Run that for several minutes as well. Once you feel all the material has been moved out of the pump and the main plumbing back to the tank, you come here, turn your main valve all the way to the off position. All your material will be out of the lines, back into the tank. You can then turn your pump off, turn your agitator off, and allow your material to cool. The next day you'll come out, you'll start the same way. You turn the burner on, allow the material to come up to temperature. Start your motor so you have hydraulic controls. Start your agitator once the material has become soft enough to move around. Allow it to heat sufficiently enough to move your material pump. Once your material pump is moving, you can open up your gate valve, allow it to recirculate back to the tank, and once all that material is at the operating temperature you want it at, which you have a material temperature thermometer here, it will show you the temperature of the material that's moving through these plumbing lines. At that point, you can turn the recirculation valve off, bring your hoses out, open up your valves, and close the applicator valve to get more pressure for material coming out. Once that's all done, suck all the material back out of the hoses by reversing the direction of the pump, close the valves on the hoses, turn recirculation valve back on, suck all the material out of the plumbing, back to the tank, close your pressure valve, close your main gate valve, turn your pump off. And it's just that easy. This has been Tim with Pavement Tech. This is how to use your EZ Core 200 propane. Thanks.